Big late model names struggle at Volusia. Is it time to start worrying about them? Plus, could we see drivers switch between the national tours? We'll talk about potential candidates. We've also got weekend sprint car results, series full-timer updates, and tire penalty news. Let's go. It's Sunday, January 26th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. In your agriculture or construction operation, or even around the home, it's important to keep expenses low. And one way to save is on fuel costs. You can do that without sacrificing performance with Kubota's fuel-efficient machinery. Engineered for optimal energy use, their equipment ensures you can work longer while spending less. Kubota's commitment to fuel efficiency means you can tackle tough jobs while keeping operating costs low. Make the smart choice for your bottom line. Choose Kubota for fuel-efficient machinery. To check out the full line of Kubota equipment, head to your local dealer or visit KubotaUSA.com. We are off and running for the World of Outlaws Late Model Series season with 2 nights at Volusia now in the books. I know it's only 2 races, but under no circumstances would anyone have picked Cody Overton and Ethan Dodson to be your top 2 in the standings after the weekend. Even though he didn't get a win, Jonathan Davenport was really the best car over the 2 nights combined, finished second in both features, but he's way down in 32nd in the standings. And that's happening because, if you might remember, the Outlaws give bonus points to the declared teams to start the season. We'll get back to that situation here in a minute. The Friday night win went to Ryan Gustin. He battled with Nick Hoffman before getting away late and topping Davenport and Cody Overton. Hoffman spun out of that lead battle and later finished in 9th. The Saturday victory went to Garrett Alberson, who tracked down race-long leader Jimmy Owens inside 10 to go. He led the final 9 laps en route to his first career Outlaw win, so Alberson has now won with both tours. Davenport again second with Max Blair in 3rd. It was an odd weekend for a lot of the big names. Chris Madden, Alberson, Dalton Wilson, Ricky Thornton Jr., Devin Moran, Owens, Dale McDowell, all of those guys missed the show on Friday night. And Bs were stacked again on Saturday. Names like Brandon Overton, RTJ, Dennis Erb, Drake Troutman, Brandon Shepard, McDowell, and Hudson O'Neill all making appearances. They all had varying levels of success. Some were able to transfer, some not. I'm going to keep qualifying all of these statements with the fact that it's early, and that's what all the comments are going to be like, this stuff doesn't matter, it's still too early in the season. But I still want to know, do we need to start worrying about some of these guys? Hudson O'Neill, 24th at Golden Isles, 30th on Friday. He did go 22nd to 8th on Saturday. Madden, though, 2 Bs and a 28 through 3 starts. RTJ, 22nd at Golden Isles, 10th and a B on Friday, 19th last night. You got to have some off nights during speed weeks, and it's okay because of, the ability to drop races for the points. But this lack of pace for some of these guys, it can't keep up for very long. And when we're talking about O'Neill and RTJ, these are guys with completely new crews for this season. So obviously we're looking at some sort of transition period here as these guys try to figure it out with new guys on their teams. Back to that bonus point situation. Thanks to this little wrinkle in the Outlaw rules, it actually gives us a look at who's made the necessary submissions to declare as an Outlaw full-timer. We knew with the addition last week of, late in the week of Austin Smith, the Outlaws, I think, were officially to 21 full-time cars. But it's actually a lot more than that on paper. There are a number of drivers who appear to be hedging between the 2 series, and that list includes several big names. Guys we've been talking about as Lucas regulars who are also on the list on the Outlaw side include Brandon Shepard, Drake Troutman, Tim McCready, Jimmy Owens, Brandon Overton, Carson Ferguson, Ricky Thornton Jr., and Dalton Wilson. All received those bonus points along with the Outlaw guys we knew about, plus Frank Heckenast. It's clear the Outlaw PR machine and the officials aren't looking at these guys as full-timers because they're not included on the driver page and they didn't get, full-time driver announcements. But of those 8 guys we thought were Lucas regulars, I think we could see some flip. I've heard some interesting rumblings about Tim McCready, for example. And we also knew as of Chili Bowl, Thornton and Kohler hadn't decided yet either. So if they are signed on to both sides, they could still make a decision at some later date. Depending on how things progress in the coming weeks, this will definitely be a situation to watch. We don't have our first real Outlaw-Lucas conflict weekend until later in March. And if weather pops up, it could be longer than that before we have any sort of resolution about what side these guys are actually on. And I know, again, I'm going to get these comments about like, obviously this is what these guys do every single year. And yes, but we haven't seen this number of big names do this type of big hedging for a while. There's usually guys a little bit further down the order, the guys, we expect, to kind of wait and see and play that game. But some of those names further up on the order, we don't expect to see that at this point. We figure guys are going to make their decisions and stick with that, especially when they're racing for championships. Late model speed weeks continue this week with Monday and Tuesday races at Needmore Speedway in Georgia. Both of those 10,000 to win and sanctioned by the Hunt the Front series. We'll see who ends up making that trip. Remember, those are non-points events for the HTF series. After that, it's back south to Alltech for Lucas starting on Thursday. The World of Outlaws late models are back racing starting February 13th at Volusia. There are also going to be some dirt car late model nights during Dirt Car Nationals. Looking at other racing from the weekend, we had a banger down under at the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic. James McFadden came out on top for his third career Classic win, but it was wild. At various points, we had J-Mac and Jamie Veal and Lachlan McHugh and Jack Goodyear and Corey Eliason and more kind of in the mix there. Goodyear banging the boards, McFadden rolled a lot of hot bottom. Lap traffic was also a big factor. If you didn't watch that one, I would definitely recommend hitting the replay over at Flow Racing. Eliason, the top finishing American in second, with Garrett Williamson seventh and Cole Macedo in eighth. This will be the end of the Aussie season for a lot of the American guys, as they'll now head back to begin preparations for the season here, which obviously starts very soon. We'll have ASCS at Volusia this coming weekend, and then the Outlaw season starts a week from Wednesday. Going back to the Thursday show last week, we talked about the Outlaws adding Skylar G and Zach Hampton to their 2025 rookie class, and as expected, and like I've been telling you, the field grew again on Friday. The Vermeer 55, now being driven again by Hunter Schuerenberg, will flip from High Limit to the Outlaws for this season. The 55 ran last year out with High Limit with Chris Windham in the seat. Windham, though, also jumped into the Outlaws for 2025, but he's obviously going to be driving for Jason Sides. The addition of Schuerenberg pushes the Outlaws to 14 total, and this rookie class is now up to 6. This Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year battle will be one to watch all season, as we haven't had a class, especially of this size, in a long time. Schuerenberg back in the 55 with Clinton Boyles on the wrenches could be a sneaky car to watch in this fight. Schuerenberg has won with just about every big-time sprint car series out there, really, except the Outlaws on High Limit. But he's got USAC wins, All-Star victories, MSCS, MOA, Fast, Power Eye, and IRA scores. I think the rosters for both sprint car series really rounded out well as we kind of get ready for the season to start here. The Outlaws at 14 officially, High Limit at 13. I still think High Limit could get Chase Randall. He's been racing down under in Australia. Obviously, he'll come back after this, and I think we'll probably get an announcement about his plan soon. And then the last remaining driver I know about right now who had series aspirations is Emerson Axum. We'll see if they decide to go one way or the other, or maybe stick with a pick-and-choose schedule. One final Chili Bowl note for you before we shut it down for today. With all the tire testing results back, the event did end up busting one more driver and team for a failed test. Sam Johnson was found with a non-conforming sample following his second place heat finish during Friday prelim action. He joins Clinton Boyles and Hunter Schuerenberg as drivers to be penalized during the event. Boyles and Schuerenberg were DQ'd for Saturday. That's kind of them serving their penalty. They'll be good to race in 2026. Johnson, though, will likely be ruled out of the 2026 event because of his infraction. Event Tech Director Cody Cordell said at a driver's meeting that any failed tests from Thursday, Friday, and or Saturday would result in 2026 bans because they wouldn't get the results back in time. So obviously, with that known, we shouldn't expect to see Johnson at the event next season. All right, that's the show for today. Hope you guys have a great Sunday out there. We will see you right back here tomorrow.